This man's children just longed to spend time with him, and they didn't want anything to get in the way of that time. They weren't going to go do anything specific. He wasn't there to help them. He was just there to spend time with them. Through my spiritual direction appointments today, the big takeaway I have is that a priest's words have power. They have a lot of power. Why? Because they are spiritual fathers. Their word holds a different weight than anybody else's word. Their very presence does. Why? Because God has put them in a position of spiritual authority in our lives. And it's no different than the authority that I have in my own children's lives. Sometimes I wonder if priests understand the power of their word and their presence in lay people's lives. It is so powerful. My children long for me to be home. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're talking to me all the time, but they want me there, and when I'm not there, they're upset about it. Same thing with my wife. My very presence brings something to them. It lends something to them. And the priest is no different. You know, what we want more than anything, what I long for most of the time, is just to spend time with them. They don't always have to be doing something to help me. I don't always need help. And that's not really the nature of relationship anyway, not filial relationship. Filial relationship is about intimacy and spending time together and sharing life together. Yes, there is help there, there's teaching there, there's direction, there's spiritual growth, there's all those things. But all of that happens in the context of a filial relationship, of a friendship, of a father-child relationship, of a brother-to-brother relationship, or brother-to-sister. Those were all the roles that Jesus held in the disciples' lives. He spiritually fathered them, which means that he created a space where the disciples could become who they're supposed to be in God. They could come to know their identity, their purpose, and who they're to be. But they were also his friends. They hung out with him, they spent time with him, they shared meals with him and shared life and went to weddings and went across oceans, or rather lakes, not oceans, but lakes and deserts and terrain, and hiked and prayed and all these things together. They shared life. And that's really, as a layperson, what I want from my priest, want from our priests. It's the ability to share life with us, to spend time with us, to speak words of blessing to us. You know, I had a situation arise where I went to work one day and I forgot my keys to my office, but the doors were unlocked because there had been a healing mass. And the priest who had celebrated the healing mass was still there. I asked some of the lay people who had been helping with it. They've been on prayer teams and such, and they were helping him. I was like, hey, his father's still back there. And they got real possessive and were like, yes, but he's coming out to dinner with us right after this. And they clearly did not want me to take his time. And it was really interesting, and I was immediately struck by that, and a little off-put at first, but I felt God speaking to me in that and moving in that, and so I paused and listened. And what I realized was this man's children just longed to spend time with him, and they didn't want anything to get in the way of that time. They weren't going to go do anything specific. He wasn't there to help them. He was just there to spend time with them. And so they did. They didn't want me getting in the way with that. And it was beautiful for me to see that and to recognize in my own heart the desire for that. How meaningful it is just to have a man over for dinner, or to go to lunch, or to just sit and talk. It doesn't have to be around some specific purpose. So this is kind of what's on my mind today, is the priesthood and the power they have. Coming back to that, the power of the word. You know, your word is powerful, fathers. You can build us up and break us down with one word, in the same way that I could do to my sons and daughters if I chose to. So please always remember that. Speak words of blessing. Draw near to Jesus so you can see us with his eyes, so you can spend time with us the way he spends time with you, or longs to anyway. And then Christ's light will shine through you in a way that you can't even imagine. It becomes more passive. It's less about what you do and more about who you are. And the very fragrance of Christ will follow you wherever you go. So, yeah, thinking about the priesthood today, praising God for it, thankful, grateful. Please pray for me. Know that I'm praying for you, and let's pray for our priests so that they can be happy, holy, and healthy.